I'm Suzanne Schultz. I'm with BNN. It's all about arts, and we're here with Terrance McNally this evening. Hi, Terrance.
Hello. How are you?
I'm well. How about you?
Great. What a beautiful day.
I know. Beautiful. Welcome back to Boston.
Thank you.
Are you enjoying your time here?
Oh, yes, I always do. I just like to walk around.
Yeah, it's a great city for walking.
We're on the South End. I had lunch, and there were a lot of art galleries.
Yes, you were over. It's Open Studio Weekend, actually.
Yeah.
So you were over at 450.
Yeah, I said, oh, look at all these studios open. Then someone said, well, it's an event. So.
Yeah, you
very nice work.
Yeah, you were lucky to hit upon that. Yeah, we have some great galleries and studios here in Boston, and today was a perfect day to go look at art.
Well, that's hard to be said. I should be outside in the park.
Right, that's true.
I'm not doing a gallery, but
I
walked from gallery to gallery, so we'll walk back here.
You got your fresh air
and
your exercise.
Yes.
And congratulations on this incredible honor that you're going to be given this evening, the ACLU, the Beacon of Liberty Award.
Right. Well, I have to make clear I am sharing it with my fellow writers of Ragtime, Lynn Ahrens, the lyricist, and Stephen Flaherty, the composer. We had the privilege of adapting Ed Doctorow's wonderful novel into a musical piece.
Yes, and this show, it debuted on Broadway in 1998.
I think 95.
95.
I'm terrible with dates. I try to stay in the moment, but it wasn't yesterday, I know that.
Right, and it started in Toronto, I believe, and it's been all over the place, and now it's here at the Strand Theatre. It's opening in the end of September, I believe the 28th, in Dorchester.
It's slowly becoming, the word classic is being used more and more in connection with the show, which makes us very proud and happy.
Yeah, you should be proud. And why don't you tell us a little bit about Ragtime for people who are unfamiliar with the play?
Well, Ragtime is a brilliant novel by Ed Doctorow, the American novelist. It's a rather short book. You can read it. If you really wanted to read it in one night, you probably could. But it's very dense and very, very, very rich. So when I was asked to adapt it, I knew the problem would be what not to adapt, because almost every sentence of the book suggests music, the energy of song and theater. So it was really an editing job. It was the first thing I had to do. So I did a treatment of it, which pretty much is what's on the stage now. The order of scenes, the characters I thought should stay in the show. The characters are completely eliminated. The characters whose parts may be diminished in the stage version. Other characters, their parts are bigger, more significant. And I did all that and got Doctorow's approval. And then we went about seeking the right composer and lyricist. And Lynn and Stephen, along with some other composers, submitted songs based on my treatment. And we listened to them without any names on them, so we didn't know if we were listening to the music of well-known people, male, female, ethnicity we knew nothing about. It was 1 through 8. I think there were 8 tapes.
Wow.
And Doctorow, myself, and the producer, Garth Drabinsky, we all said unanimously, whoever wrote the songs on tape 8 is the right person or people to do this. And when we opened the envelope, it said Ahrens and Flaherty, whose work I did know, but I would have listened to it differently because I knew them, thought they were talented, and I liked them.
Right.
And but when you want to listen to the music to judge who's the best person for this job, maybe it was this blind reading was a better way to go about it. It's how a lot of orchestras audition now. The person plays behind a screen, so you don't know if you're listening to a young or old, male or female cellist, say. And I think that's so interesting because we all are a little, and if you ask Irving Berlin to write the score, you're going to like the songs because he's Irving Berlin.
Right.
And they might not be the right songs for your version of Ragtime. So here there was no pressure like, oh, this person has won 85 Tony Awards, we've got to go with them.
Right, you level the playing field and you give people an opportunity.
Yeah, it's like any other business, sometimes the playing field is not level in the theater, and people who are older or have a few more accolades are preferred over the younger person who maybe has a little more to say or is a better choice for this particular story.
Right.
But at any rate, we did find I think, the right creative team to make a musical of Ragtime.
You definitely
So
did, with all the success it's had.
We didn't improve on the novel. We made something different of it, but I think we've made a pretty damn good musical based on the novel. I mean, to me, the source always is Dr. Owen. We certainly tried to honor the spirit of his book.
How do you feel the story relates to the world we're living in today?
Well, completely. Every problem raised in Ragtime over 100 years ago is still with us.
Exactly.
And it's kind of extraordinary how we have to keep reclaiming or claiming new ground, new freedoms. And this addresses everything from women's rights to how we treat immigrants, religious tolerance, unions. I mean, they're all there. They're all in the book. It's a very wise book. It's got a lot of humor in it, but at its core, it's a very passionate and serious piece about America becoming America. And maybe now it makes us look back to our original ideals and the things that drove us to writing the Constitution and becoming the country we imagined, and how maybe we've veered somewhat from that dream and have to do it again.
Right.
I find it a very inspiring musical and uplifting in the best sense. I don't think it's sentimental. I don't think it's remotely corny or chauvinistic. I think it's a very thoughtful show, and it reminds us it's a privilege to have the freedoms granted by our Constitution, and we must never lose sight of how valuable they are. And it's a wake-up call, too.
I think it is.
And coming the year of a very special election, contentious, whatever word you fraught, whatever you want to call it, this is not just oh ho hum another presidential election. And I think that's going to inform the audience watching it here at the end of the month.
Yes. Now, have you seen this production yet?
No, I haven't.
You
They're
haven't?
still in rehearsal. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, that's interesting. Well, you must
Yeah.
be very excited to see it. And also, the neighborhood that it's in, where the Strand Theater is, also, it's a very historic theater, and also in a neighborhood that's very relevant to the nature of the play. So that's really a special thing as well.
The theater actually is contemporary with when the story takes place, turn of the last century. And I think it's thrilling that we're at this old theater.
It is thrilling.
Yeah, and on Broadway, at its world premiere, on the Broadway stage, it was in two old theaters that have been combined into a new theater. So we reclaimed, this was the first theater on the new and reclaimed 42nd Street, which had pretty much descended into sleaze and porn, drugs,
Right.
Prostitutes. It was a pretty unpleasant street, and the theater, it's changed names 3 times since we opened. It was called the Ford Center when we opened. It's the Foxwood Theater now. We were the beginning of reclaiming 42nd Street, and I think theater is such a wonderful way to do that because it invites families and brings people together for an occasion. And
It definitely does.
yeah.
And thank you for contributing so much to the theater over the years. And are you working on anything right now that we should know about?
Well, I've got a new play that's going into rehearsal in about 3 weeks called Golden Age. It's going to be at Manhattan Theater Club. And then in the spring, I have another play. This is unusual to have 2 plays in one season. A play is going to be done at the Pearl Theater, which is a resident acting company in New York that does classic theater. It's the first contemporary play they've ever done. Usually their playwrights are Aeschylus, Sophocles, Shakespeare, Chekhov. Bernard Shaw is about as contemporary as they get.
Well,
So,
that's quite an honor then for you.
So I'm excited about
Yes.
that. Yeah, I've written it specifically for this company of actors.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you visit BNN again when you come back to Boston.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Terrance.
Thank you.
Thanks.